Welcome back to the Dividend Diplomats YouTube channel. You've got your boys here, Lanny Burt, the mother effing Dividend Diplomats. What do we have today? We have a stock that should perform very well in a recession. We're going to tell you why, but not just that, Lanny. What happened to this stock? This stock got destroyed this week. They were down over 11% on the last trading day of the week. We're going to talk about this recession-proof stock and see if it's a stock to buy right now for your boys, the Dividend Diplomats.
Guys, before we do though, smash that subscribe button, give us a nice thumbs up here on this video. We appreciate you for rocking with the Dividend Diplomats here, guys, because we try to analyze as many dividend stocks, bring you as much dividend news as possible to help you on that passive income journey to financial freedom. That's what it's all about here with your boys here in the DD. Been doing this, man, the blog's almost hitting a 10-year mark. The YouTube channel's, pushing almost the 4-year mark, guys. So thanks for rocking with us, almost to 19K subs. And Bert, you're right. This stock in a certain industry just got punched in the gut, got China low blowed as well, right in the middle of the ring. And at one point, it was down much more than how they finished, but still down 11.5%+ in one day.
Absolutely wild. And what are we doing right now? We are looking for every undervalued dividend stock we had. Despite the run-up in the S&P 500 over the last few weeks, there are still some gems to buy. There's still some undervalued stocks out there. So we've been producing 5+ videos every single week to help us find those undervalued stocks so you can see what we're thinking, and then hopefully through the comments get your ideas too of what dividend stocks you're buying. I'll be honest, going into the weekend, Lanny, outside before Friday, was not planning on talking about this stock, but sometimes that's just how this happens. Sometimes the stock just kind of falls into your lap, and time for us to really take a look at it and see what we're thinking.
Sometimes that is how the cookie crumbles and you work with what you got. And guys, what we got right now is a certain stock that both Bert owns and I own, possibly some products that Bert uses and I use, and probably you use, and you just don't know it. Maybe it's at home. Maybe it's when you're out and about. Maybe it's when you're celebrating a big event, Bert. What is this dividend stock here that we're talking about? Let's pop the cork on this one.
Diageo, ticker symbol DEO. Yeah, they got some of the biggest brands out there. You use it more than I do, Laddie, because I don't. This is not my liquor's not my wheelhouse. From that
Well,
standpoint.
let's flash back to that bachelor party.
Yeah, exceptions count. Exceptions matter. There's no Bailey's and none of their product here in this coffee mug.
Hey, you
Unfortunately,
do have that Crown Royale Christmas Santa hat. I know that.
I do have that. Yeah, that's right. So it's Johnny Walker. It's some of their brands: Johnny Walker, Guinness, Bailey's, Smirnoff, Captain Morgan, Don Julio, Crown Royal, Ciroc. I mean, the list goes on. That they have over 200+ bands. They're worldwide too, basically everywhere throughout the country. I mean, throughout the world, not just the country. 180+ countries. Diageo is everywhere. Market cap's massive, 78+ billion market cap. This is a large alcohol company.
Yeah, that's not a small one, that's for sure, guys. And again, what happened though during that earnings release, guys, is they had some pretty I don't know, I guess sad outlook on what's happening in certain parts of their I guess geography on what sales might look like in the future. But it really doesn't seem like it's just them, but it might be a industry-wide thing. Is that what you're getting from it?
Yeah, and that's what it was. The big thing was with the Central American, Latin American region projected decrease of 20% in the region. And with all the travel, all the resorts, all the people visiting in there, you'd imagine that makes up a pretty large chunk of their sales. But with that, to your point, it's about the industry, what that's going to mean for Diageo, rest of the world, rest of future alcohol sales. If you're seeing one of their major sectors already projecting a 20% decrease, how is that going to project out through the rest of the company? And that's really what spooked the market and why the stock price just plummeted after that news got released.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, pretty interesting, right? But now is this another case, Bert, as we both know, of a management? Let me under promise here, and maybe we can over deliver coming 2024, despite what they're saying about Latin America right now.
I mean, look, it would be a smart move by management. Seriously, you have the reason to kind of get the expectations set up in line so you can take a little bit of a beating in a bad year, and then set up for a very successful 2024. Sure, why not? Maybe they
Right.
already know they're missing those management incentives anyway, so they're not going to hit them. So you might as well set yourself up for the better ones next year.
Exactly. And I wonder what their share buyback plan is.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. A little
Hmm.
strategic trickery here.
Yeah.
Is this what they call an audible in the investing game or in the management of your maybe a management of your capital thanks to Diageo here. The one
Yeah.
thing that we know for certain though is that during bad times people still drink. And people, unfortunately, obviously. And then it can be some form of a possible addiction. And usually you might have your brand that you don't want to stray away from.
Yeah.
Bert brushes his teeth in Johnny Walker. I take a bath in Bailey. So it's like you don't really want to stray away from what you're used to
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. And that's why we called it the recession proof stock here in the intro, is because in good times or bad, people are sticking to their favorite alcohol, and it takes a lot for it to switch. The switching powers are high. Me going from Bud Light at the beginning of this channel to Miller Lite was a hard enough of a switch. And now I'm back to Bud Light because of the price. But all right. So
I was thinking it was more of the Bush Light to Natty Light, how that switch worked.
yeah, it was great. But okay, so it wasn't all doom and gloom too. Buried in this release, this news release that projected the sales, they kind of buried in some decent news too. They just said small sales are projected for the entire company. So Latin America's dragging them down, but they're going to see some growth in the North American region. They're going to see some sales growth in Africa, some very like modest, barely any growth in Europe. So it's like it seems like it's isolated to a Latin American thing at the current moment, but how is that going to project out? Who knows?
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Hey, good take. And also, what other price increases could they have right now? As I know, obviously, similar to like your Pepsi and Coke, a lot of those costs they can kind of pass on ish, through the price point of their products.
yeah,
Obviously, they're products that always sell. So it's like, hey, just maybe, creep in a little bit there to help make up for it. So it's very, very curious on what they can do on the pricing mix to make up possibly for a decline or stagnant volume movement.
it's time, Lanny. Time to run through our
Let's do
screen.
it.
Each
Yeah,
has
let's
three
do it.
metrics here.
Three
Uh,
metric.
PE ratio, payout ratio, dividend history, and the bonus metric, the dividend yield. Diageo's international, so some of the information is not the easiest to come by. You seeking alpha pulling in the earnings per share, the dividend, and well,
You
the
had to do it. You had to do it.
dividend growth. Yeah, dividend growth.
Uh-huh.
So all right, let's jump in. Their price they closed after that beating 141.21, 4 DPS 842, PE ratio of 1677.
Yeah, pretty undervalued comparatively where they usually are at.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking at the dividend, again, they pay semi-annual dividends. So, once every 6 months during the year. Right now, that estimate's about $3.93. Guys, correct us in the comments below on any of this translation type stuff. That leads to a payout ratio that's perfect, 46.67%, right in that sweet spot of 40 to 60. So, Bert, what does this dividend growth ish look like?
Yeah, so we're also going to ask for your opinion too. If you have a good source for these international dividends, please let us know down there. Because Seeking Alpha, Dividend Investor, yeah, all the places where we typically go to get the dividend histories are just tough for international stocks. We see no dividend growth, which is wrong because you zoom out and you see the trending upward, but because of the currency translation, how it flows over the US dollars, it looks like it's not growing. So nothing actually tells you what their actual dividend growth history is. But we know that their dividend growth is typically between 5 to 6%, and it's trending upward. That's what we have
Trend
for dividend
up.
growth for
The
Diageo.
trend is your friend.
In this case, it is. So what's the yield, Lanny? What are we looking at here from a yield perspective with Diageo?
Almost two times the S&P 500, but it is at 2.78% based on current price, which is much higher than where they historically are yielding at. Again, down 12% this year, down 20%, or down 11% in one day, down 20% this year alone, down 19% since last year. 5 year, they're also down. Again, very interesting mix up right here. Pretty much a flat now price point with Diageo over the last 5 years. Bert, what you thinking here, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see the yield above 3% before they get seriously in my buy zone. Once Diageo's yield crosses 3, it's going to be time to start moving them and creeping them up very high on the watch list to see if it's time to add to my position. Not quite there yet, but I'm using 3% yield as my baseline for DEO. What do you think, Lanny?
Gotcha. Yeah, I like to see them below 130. Be be curious to see them crack below 130, 125,
Yeah.
130. Yeah, I'm with you.
That's just a hair above 3% yield. So that seems to be the baseline 3% yield below 130. That's where we're looking at Diageo. What do you think about Diageo, everybody? Are you buying right now? Are you looking for a higher yield? What's your overall take on the alcohol industry too? We'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what your favorite beverage is as well. Let us know if that is a Diageo branded, drink that you usually reach for, guys. And if you haven't, definitely subscribe to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Keep saving your money, keep investing, keep adding to passive income. And what better than to buy an asset for a product that you use, such as drinking your Johnny Walker, your Crown Royale, your Ciroc, et cetera, et cetera. Let us know what you guys think below.
And remember, if you're not with us, you're against us. Jackson, get out of here.
That was Bert and Laney from the Dividend Diplomats, over and out.